on the ground. I'm not coming down. I wanna go higher, higher, higher than that.
This is Write Your Own Story, 3 Keys to Rise and Thrive in Life and Business. I'm your host, Rebecca Fleetwood Hession. Today's episode is one of my favorite topics, community. Actually, I believe it's my God-given purpose in this life to do everything towards the goal of community building. And that's the seed that God planted in me when I started this business 7 years ago. And this story about community is very personal. It's very holiday. It's just fun. So I'm going to tell it. As many of you probably know, I have a community of women through my work that we fondly refer to ourselves as the Badass Women's Council. And if you go to my website, RebeccaFleetwoodHession.com, you can actually virtually join in and get a lot of tools and things to help you build community and be a badass career woman. But this particular group that's local here to Indianapolis have been a part of things like my Rise and Thrive experience, as well as being one on one coaching clients. So they're local here in my Indianapolis community. And they're just a badass group of beautiful, kind, successful women that I love, 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 love so much. And as the holiday season was starting, I put out a message to this group and said, "Hey, my daughter, who works at a shoe store here in Indianapolis called England's, which is a local shoe store that carries high end shoes like Uggs and Birkenstock and Ons. My daughter is a commissioned salesperson there and does quite well selling shoes and making commission off selling those shoes. And she reached out to me before Thanksgiving, like mid-November, because that's when the holiday season starts. And she said, "Hey, you should let your people know that if they don't get their UGG orders in really quickly, the supply is short on the most popular brands and they might not get their Uggs for Christmas presents this year." And most of these women have daughters or nieces or people that have Uggs on their list, okay? And so, first part of this story is my daughter, yes, makes commission, but two, was providing a human story service. We're always looking for the human impact and the business impact. She was providing a service to these women to say, "Hey, y'all, get your orders in." And she provided her cell phone number that my people could personally place their UGG orders into my daughter and she would ship them to them. So these are busy professional women who don't have a lot of time to shop. So my daughter, who's a retail salesperson at the mall, is saying, "Hey, I will help you," upping her level of service to now a personal shopper. And my community responded not just to do my daughter favor and a solid and help her make money, although they like to do that. That's the thing about community. They like to help make your business successful. And so they're like, "Yeah, I'm going to buy Uggs anyway. Let me just buy them from Auburn so she benefits." Perfect. So they started placing their orders. And it was very true what my daughter said, that there was a scarcity in some of the most popular styles and sizes. And so it was really helpful for my daughter to serve them in that way and be paid for it. Well, then, because it was so successful, my daughter said, or did she ask me or did I do it? I think she did it. She posted on her social media, Facebook, that while this one particular version of Uggs had been sold out, they'd gotten a shipment in, like a very popular size, like Tasman's in size 8. And so she posted it on her social media to let people know, if you're looking for these, I've got them. Again, providing a service to people who are out trying to make Christmas miracles come true. And she messaged me and said, "Hey, will you share my post because you have a lot more followers?" Sure. So I shared it out to my broader community now, broader than just my Badass Women's Council. Now it's out there on the socials. And when I tell you this post went crazy, because she was providing a service and people were out looking for these. And oh my gosh, my daughter's life blew up for a few days. But you know what was interesting about the vibe of this is she was working harder and more hours, but having a whole lot more fun because it was personal, it was emotional, it was social. And you know what we say around here? Business is human. And yes, the business needs to control, measure, and optimize. And yes, she has goals to hit. The store has goals to hit. But by serving personal, emotional, and social needs, she was making more money. They were hitting their goals. And her engagement went up like nobody's business. So she was coming home from working a full shift. And if you've ever worked retail during the holidays, I'm telling you what, it is a vibe. And she's exhausted when she gets home from her shift. Oftentimes just retreats to her room and doesn't want to talk, just needs the downtime. And I respect it. So just like slide some food under the door, tell her to get some rest. But because this was personally serving these people that needed her, she was coming home from a full shift, getting messages from people on Facebook and Instagram from these posts, and getting back in her car and driving back to the store to enter these orders and to search the inventory because she can't do that from her phone. Not being paid any hourly time for that, but serving and having the most fun doing it. So then people like my good friend Stephanie Bramwell, who I haven't seen in person in a long time. We used to work together and then we stayed connected when I was at Franklin Covey, but she lives close to me. We just don't see each other live. Our paths don't cross that much other than posting on social media. Well, she got such great service from my daughter. She told her sister and her, I think, aunt or cousin. Now, all of a sudden, my daughter is shipping shoes to West Virginia and Kentucky. I started calling her worldwide because she was serving these people in such a beautiful way by going out of her way to take care of them and messaging them back and making sure everything was accurate and making sure they were going to get the things that they needed for their Christmas list. And they were sending her messages and Venmo tips and saying, "You just saved my Christmas. This is a Christmas miracle. You're my Christmas angel." Okay, I'm tearing up because there is nothing greater for a parent than to know that people value and respect and appreciate your kids in the way that they're being valuable, relevant, and making an impact. VRI. This is what we all want in our work. Was my daughter still just selling shoes? But it wasn't just selling shoes. She was valuable. She was relevant. She was making an impact in a way that was personal, emotional, and social. And when we do that, we want to work harder because it feels good, not because somebody's breathing down our back telling us to work overtime, because it matters. Because it matters. I was on my way to Nashville for a keynote speech last week, and Auburn calls me and just laughing, having a blast, telling me the stories of how many new people that she had met through like this mom and her daughter were in the car together shopping and calling Auburn, and they were all laughing and having a good time together. These people don't even live here. But the daughter that was in the car with the mom was saying to Auburn, "When I come back to Indiana to visit family, I'm going to look you up. You're so fun. Maybe we could be friends." Like, listen, when I tell you that I believe that if we change the work, we can change the world, I have examples and stories and illustrations of this actually working, where the ripple effect into our lives, into our humanity is beautiful and it's real, and none of it sacrifices the money making model. In fact, it increases it. It increases it. Because not only did she sell more shoes, she made some nice tips. She was tipped for service selling shoes because of her engagement and her excitement to be valuable relevant, and make an impact. This has been my favorite part of the holiday. And y'all, I love me some holidays and I go to some fun parties, but watching this play out has been beautiful. And then just yesterday, 2 days ago, another client, Bianca, who will be on stage on March 6th for the Stand Tall in Your Story event as one of the speakers. Go to my website, RebeccaFleetwoodHessian.com, and check out the tickets for Stand Tall in Your Story. You can attend live or virtual. Okay, little sidetrack. She messages me and says, I know your son's in Nashville, but can he place an order for me and ship it to me here in Indiana? Yes. So she bought a guitar for somebody, and Cameron was so excited. That's beautiful. He was so excited and grateful. And I was so grateful that Bianca reached out to him. She could have just bought it online, could have done it easy, but she took the time to make it personal, emotional, and social. I can barely speak. My brain is so full of emotion and I just want to keep saying the same things over and over again because I just want to be like, do you get it? Do you get it? Please get it. It matters and it works and it makes all of our lives better. It makes us better spouses and parents and humans when we work this way. In fact, I would love for you to attend the January 8th session. This one's for the ladies. It's a Badass Women's Council event on January 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern for 2 hours. I'm going to teach you how to plan for your year authentically, personally, emotionally, socially, so that you can enjoy the impact of working differently. Because if we change the way that we work, we can change the world. All right, love you, mean it.
Coming down. I never left it on the ground. I'm not coming down.
Thanks for listening to this episode. I would love it if you would go to Apple Podcasts and leave a rating and a review. And then you can go to RebeccaFleetwoodHessian.com and join the Badass Women's Council. And if you really want to take a deeper dive, join the movement of 1,000 thriving women. There's amazing Thrive tools there for you today. Love you, mean it.
I'm not coming down.
Hey y'all, fun fact, if you like the music for the podcast, that is actually my son, Cameron Hessian. And I would love it if you would go to Spotify and iTunes and follow him and download some of his other music. My personal favorite is TV Land.